Welcome to Mr. Data's Tutorials. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to add dimensions, how to adjust dimensions, how to change units, along with a bunch of other things, all things dimensions and adding notes and symbols and that kind of thing. So first of all, I know I mentioned this in class probably, there's an auto dimension feature. That's right here. Again, I prefer that you stay away from that and not use it because it is going to do it incorrectly. You will have to fix your dimensions anyway, and you're really not learning anything by doing that. So if I had it my way, I'd prefer that you don't use it and just do it the right way. Use dimensions, apply them manually all by yourself. So that's what we're going to do here. Remember, if the master copy has 8 dimensions, your drawing better also have 8 dimensions. That is your cheat sheet. That's your key. However many dimensions the master copy has, and the worksheet I give you in class is how many dimensions this should have. If there's any notations, I'll talk about that. Sometimes on your master copy, you'll see a notation. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. Other rules, remember, dimensions always go to an inside edge when possible. They also go as close to the contour as possible. That rule trumps everything. So if the contour is not on an inside edge, then it's okay if the dimension is on the outside. What does that mean? Well, what are we referring to as inside edges? This would be an inside edge. This would be the inside edge. This, and this. Those are all inside edges. Everything else around the outside. All right. So, again, if the contour lands on an outside edge, that is okay. That's where the dimension should go, as close to the contour as possible. Otherwise, all dimensions go to inside edges. Now, before you start dimensioning, you want to look at your master copy. If they do the dimensions as fractions, yours should be fractional. If they have them as decimals, yours should be decimals. How do you make that change? You're going to want to make that change now. You can do it later on, but it's a lot more of a headache. It takes a lot longer. If you make a setting change now, all your dimensions will be updated and you won't have to do it the hard way. So if you go to Document Settings and you hover your mouse over that, this little gear on the end here pops up. Click on that gear. It'll open this window, this menu. You're going to go to Units, expand that category, change the format to either decimal or fractional, whatever your master copy calls for. It's probably going to be decimal by default, so you can leave it if it's decimal. And then, let me just show you, it also rounds the precision. It rounds up 2 decimal places. That may need to be adjusted depending on when you do your dimensioning. You may notice that it's not the dimension that you put in when you drew your part, and you may have to change it if it's not reading out correctly and you know that it's correct. If it's fractional, I don't know why they set this to 1/4 inch precision, but we need to make it 1/16 of an inch pretty much always across the board. This always needs to be on 1/16 inch precision, or your dimensions will not read out correctly. You may have dimensioned it perfectly when you made the part, and let's say this is 2 inches across here, but it's not going to say that. It's going to say something different. So you got to make sure you change that precision. Very important. Now, if you do forget, again, to make that change now, I'll show you what you can do later on, but it's a lot harder. Okay, so here's your dimension tool. To apply them manually, you're going to go around, put them where they belong by simply clicking on an endpoint. If you snap to one endpoint, you come over and snap to the other endpoint, drag it out. It will snap for you to different locations where it thinks is a good distance. You can make that call on your own, but it does help keep things consistent. And then you can click to drop. Now, I'm not saying that these dimensions I'm applying are correct. I'm just showing you examples. So don't go off what I'm doing when you dimension your shape. Obviously, this isn't correct anyway, like the one you did in class. If you're going from center point to center point, many kids make the mistake of clicking in the middle of the two holes. That is incorrect. If you do that, it's going to draw the extension line, and it's not going to leave a gap here. See, there should always be a gap in between the extension line and the end point. So that is incorrect. If I click on it, I can see that start point. So the right way would have been to snap to the end of the center lines. Now, you might notice that is on a bit of an angle. If you move your mouse in any direction, it'll change. See how it straightened out from there to there if I pull my mouse over this way just a little bit? So you can, get different results if you move your mouse around. So then you can drop that into place. Now that is the correct way. We can see the gap in between the center lines, and I will check that. I will grade you on that when I grade your projects. You can click on a dimension. We talked about this in class. You can move a number. I prefer that the number is inside. If you can, always move it inside. Sometimes it pops them outside for no reason, so put them inside when you can. You can move the extension line, the point at which you clicked, you can move that. So if it were wrong, instead of starting over like I did, you can click on that dot and drag it to the location that you want it to be, the starting point that it should be. So those are little changes you can make. Leader lines. So leader line is automatically made for you if you click dimension again and click on a circle. That's called a leader line. I might want to drop this up here in line with this arrow so it looks nice and clean. Same thing here. I might want to kind of group these all together instead of putting them all in random locations. Now remember from class, leader line should always be as close to a 45-degree angle as possible. So right around there, 45 degrees. Whether it's in this quadrant, this one, or this one, it doesn't matter, as long as it's close to that angle somewhere in there. You don't want it to be perfectly, like a straight line like this, or straight up and down on a real steep angle. That's something you want to avoid. You also want to avoid going over, if I don't have to put it here, I don't want to cross over these object lines. I don't want to have to cross over other dimensions. Those are all bad practices. You want to put it out in nice, clean, free space if you can, if and when you can. All right, so those are leader lines. You can also check your master sheet, and you're going to notice that there could be some extra notes. So if you go ahead and look at your master copy right now, you're going to find that a lot of these drawings will have little notations. It might say metric. It might say 1 required, or a lot of these say CRS-1 REQD. That means cold rolled steel, 1 required. Those are all notations for the manufacturer, how many of these parts that they need and what kind of material it is, what kind of steel it is, or aluminum, or whatever the material is. So take a close look at your master copy, see if there's any little notations. It might say fillets and rounds and what the value is. So there's always a chance that there's some extra text somewhere that you need to put. You'll also notice that if the drawing has more than one hole that's the same size, there's a notation that says, under this dimension, it says 2 holes. We don't dimension this hole twice. It's the same. We just put a notation that says 2 holes. Now, you can double click on a dimension. Hit escape to clear. You can double click on a dimension and add text after it. I'm going to prefer that the text that says 2 holes goes underneath the fraction here. So I'm going to come up here to text, and I'm going to add this little text box. Always write all words in your drafts, in your documents like this. Everything has to be in all caps. Always all caps. So you can slide that around if you need to. It'd be nice if it was kind of lined up here. Maybe we choose a different location for this dimension so that it's a little bit nicer of a layout here with where things are landing. But in any event, you get the idea. So you can add text here. Again, if there's a separate notation somewhere that says what the material is in the requirements, you can add a text box somewhere in the open space. All right. You can also add symbols. So if for some reason a symbol didn't show up, or you wanted to add a symbol like the dimension or diameter symbol, I should say, if you double click on a dimension, up here you can see the insert symbol. There is the diameter symbol. Later on, you're going to learn about counter bores, counter sunk holes, depth. You will be adding these 3 at some point during this class. So remember about how to add symbols. That is definitely something we're going to do one day in the future. And again, if you hadn't changed your settings initially, and you need to go and manually change all these to fractions or decimals, you would have to do just that. Double click each one individually, change the format, change the precision. That takes a lot longer to do one by one than if you had done it one time under the settings. All right, so a couple more things here quick. This is really an important thing to know. Say you're doing all your dimensions and you realize that the dimensions are wrong. You made a mistake. And that's a great thing to be aware of. Look at these dimensions and make sure they're correct. Make sure they match the master copy. And if they don't, you may have just saved yourself a few points off when you turn this thing in. So if you notice a mistake, you can always go back to the part file. I know that's not the part file. But you can go back to the original part file. You can change or fix your mistake. And when you do that, you're going to make sure you hit save. Then you're going to go back to your drawing file. And you're going to click on this button right here that says, it's basically refresh. It's not letting me refresh because I didn't do anything like that. But if you did have a refresh that was possible, this would kind of be like an orange color. And if you hit that, it'll automatically update your drawing and the dimensions. You don't have to do a thing. It literally updates it and makes the change that you made. It fixes it. It fixes the dimension automatically. So it's a real nice quick fix. Anything you do in the part file will automatically update in your drawing file. So it's a really nice feature of this program. Now I'm going to show you how to print. Before you print, you're going to want to make sure your title block is accurate, up to date with the date and the drawing number. Remember, this was taken from a template. So how do you get back into here to fix the date? Go to this drop down, sheet settings, right click on the title block, go to edit title block, and now I can double click on these text boxes and update these drawing numbers as needed, and then finish title block. All right, now how to print. Make sure you save it. File, print. You're going to put this on the RH623. You're going to make sure it looks correct. I believe you are going to have to put yours on landscape. I think by default yours is going to look like this. Don't forget to change that. Make sure the scale's 1:1. If it's not, I can't grade it accurately. Then hit print, and then go collect your drawing, or actually you can just leave it in the printer. That's totally fine. Thank you.